Hello, my name is Azlan, and I am the founder of GreenSteps. I am 55 years old, I think, this year. And my main role is I am basically the main architect for the whole program, and I try to develop the program based on the realities of the challenge ahead, as opposed to maybe a corporation that might take social and environmental issues and try to rebrand it based on their products or their brand, which some people call greenwashing. So what I do is I try to go back to the science and go back to the basic issues. Our planet follows something called biogeochemical cycles, and basically the cycles are carbon, water, nitrogen. These are the three main ones. Then there are the other cycles of elements like iron, phosphorus, and sulfur. Now, what has happened is that we have intervened too much in creating an unbalanced cycle. And only very, very recently we have had some evidence that by doing so, it might cause some challenges when it comes to preserving the Earth system that will support us in particular. So, for example, the concentration of carbon in our atmosphere used to be something in I don't remember the numbers, but it used to be in 250 or 60 before the industrial age. Now it's more than 400. And because of this increase in carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases, the Earth is experiencing a warming effect. And that warming effect, called the greenhouse gas effect, causes, it doesn't seem like a lot maybe, but it does cause changes in how the climate responds. There are some a lot of people do not know that one of the effects of the change of carbon is the cycles that go through the ocean. Like the Gulf Stream is one of the cycles, the ocean cycles, and by increasing for example, the situation in the Arctic, where a lot of water goes into the oceans from the melting of the ice caps, it actually makes the water less salty. And by doing so, it slows down some of the streams that go around the world, and that might cause a major effect in terms of how wind blows, when it blows across the continent, and that will have major repercussions. So there's a lot of science that a lot of people are not aware of, and because they're not aware of, they tend not to think about climate change. I think the most important thing is that we need to see the world through the lens of carbon. I don't know if you remember, there was this movie called Sixth Sense, where there was this one boy and he could see ghosts. We don't know those ghosts are around, but you can see them. And I think if you train your eye to look at things like, for example, the exhaust of a car, or if there's food that's rotting in the back lanes of an alley, if you can start looking at it from the perspective of carbon, then you will see that this is what causes climate change. And then you need to start thinking about how do I prevent this carbon from becoming like this. So this is basically what I hope to achieve, that everyone is aware of the carbon cycle in particular, and also to some extent the nitrogen cycle. But carbon is the most fundamental of cycles and something that we can observe. So instead of driving a car, like for example, I walked about half a kilometer to be here at this cafe. So I didn't drive, and partly because I realized that I can walk that 500 meters, even though it's a bit warm. Malaysia is always warm, so walking in midday is hard. But I'm quite used to it. I just wear a t-shirt and that should be sufficient. And just we have a regular composting activity in my house and in the neighborhood, and we try to make sure that none of that food waste goes to one of the concession holder lorries that will bring it to a landfill. So once you start seeing carbon, you can make a decision for yourself to not be involved in generating that carbon. And if everyone can do this, then you can start to reduce the amount of carbon that goes into the atmosphere. If only one or two persons do it here and there, there will be no difference. So this is what I think the most pressing issue is that we as a species, we don't know the effect of what we take for granted as normal behavior is actually causing harm to the planet. So one of the things that, again, we together with Touchpoint, we built the GreenSteps app. But before we could build the app, I personally, together with my family and neighbors, had to start changing our behavior. So it's not enough to say, okay, everyone change and you yourself haven't changed. So the most fundamental behavior that I could do and I could change, one was I started walking a lot more. So then I don't have to drive. The second one is the composting, where we compost our food waste and garden waste around the neighborhood. We've also installed an air conditioning system that reduces the electricity output to half, and that helped my electric bill went from quite a lot, about 600-700 ringgit, to down to about 200 to 300 ringgit. I also had two refrigerators at one point in time, and then we just switched to just one refrigerator, and that I think also helped reduce the overall electric bill. So that would be something that anyone can do as well. So from the experience that I have developed for myself and my family, a lot of that went into the GreenSteps app, so that when people follow, at least there is at least one person. Actually, there's a lot more, not just me, but there's at least one person who have walked the talk. So when you walk the talk, then you understand how difficult it is. And when you understand the difficulty that you yourself had to encounter, then it's a lot easier when people want to make the change. So you can explain to them how to make those changes. So that's all part of what GreenSteps is. It's a digital platform, but it's also a platform where people can come together and help each other and encourage each other to reduce their carbon footprint. I would like to add that the tools are there. I mean, we started in 2014 officially in the community that I'm in, which is in TTDI, and we've made steps. At that time, we didn't call it GreenSteps, but we made steps. We had a few gardens that were just started around that time, and then we had some grant money as well to help us do the program. So as time went by, the momentum to try to make changes has increased, and this momentum is now reflected in the fact that we have put together some of these initiatives under a digital platform. So for someone not to be involved, or someone who still wants to ignore the issues of climate change and what they can do about it, I don't think that you have an excuse anymore. You can do it. And even if you don't follow GreenSteps, there's a lot of literature and a lot of content that you can follow yourself. So GreenSteps is more of a movement to organize people to make better changes, better behavior changes. That's all we are really trying to do, and to kind of help each other. So I think no more excuse lah, okay, everybody.